Population of a country is its horoscope. High burden of population can take a toll on resources. On one hand, on the other hand, it can also be converted into demographic dividend if properly utilized. Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain you all the second chapter, demographic structure of Indian society. Demography is the scientific study of human population in which includes study of change in population size, composition and its distribution. The word demography is derived from Greek origin. It is composed of with two words, demos means people and graphian means describe. The systematic study of the population of a country, area, community, etc. is called demography. It studies the trends and processes associated with population, including change in population size, birth patterns, death, and migration. Demography is a field that is of special importance to sociology. The emergence of sociology and its successful establishment as an academic discipline owed a lot to demography. It focuses its attention on mainly three human phenomena: the composition of the population, change in population size, space for distribution of population. Composition, the number of people living in a particular area. Change, increase or decrease of the total population on one structural unit. Distribution, the arrangement of population at a given time geographically or among various types of residential areas. Here we will discuss what is the importance of demographic data. Demographic data, it is essential for the planning and implementation of state policy for economic development and public welfare. Along with this, it also have a great importance for health status of a community depends upon the dynamic relationship between number of people, their composition and distribution. Planning of health services can be guided by demographic variables. For example, how many health units do we need? How to distribute them in the community in order to be accessible to the target population? What type of manpower is needed? Types of demography. Basically, demography is of two types: formal demography and social demography. Formal demography is a broader field of population studies. It's concerned with measurement and analysis of the components of population change. It mainly focuses on quantitative analysis, for which it has a highly developed mathematical methodology suitable for forecasting population growth and change in the composition of population. Social demography, it is based on process, social, economic or political aspect of population. It wider it is believes that social process structure regulate demographic processes. They seek to trace the social regions that account for the population trend. Formal demography, it basically depends on birth rate. Birth rate, number of live birth in a given area during a given time per thousand population. Death rate, it is the number of deaths in given area during a given time per thousand population. Growth rate, it is the difference between the birth rate and death rate. Now, fertility rate, number of live birth per thousand women who is in childbearing age. Sex ratio, number of female per thousand males in a given area at a specified time period. Suicide rate, these all depends on per thousand population, but suicide rate, it is measured on 1 lakh's population. Infant mortality rate, number of death of babies before the age of 1 year per thousand live birth. Maternal mortality rate, number of women dying during the giving childbirth per thousand live births. Replacement label, it is the label which get replaced by the new generations. Dependency ratio, proportion of dependent means elderly people and children. The working age group is assumed as 18 years to 64 years. Now, we will study on theories given for the demography. The first theory given by Thomas Robert Malthus theory. This theory says that population tends to grow at a much faster rate than the rate at which the means of human subsistence can grow. Principle of this Malthus theory is population rises in geometrical progression. Geometrical progression get doubled. If the population of an area is 2000, then it get doubled by 4000, then 8000, then 16,000, so on. But the agricultural production is growing in arithmetic production like 2, 4, 6, 8. The result will be poverty. Solution given by Malthus. Malthus has said the prosperity can be achieved only by controlling growth of population through preventive checks. The preventive checks are postponing marriages, celibacy, etc. Positive checks through famine and diseases. Criticism of Malthus theory. Malthus theory get criticized on the basis of food production and standards of living rise despite rapid population growth as seen in the historical experiences of European countries. Poverty, starvation is caused not due to rise in population but due to unequal distribution of economic resources. If we talk as a general rule, then the ratio of arithmetic production of means of food and agricultural and geometrical progression of population growth was never get proved. So many cases are there. Theory of the growth of the means of subsistence in arithmetic ratio was not proved. He did not clearly distinguish between fertility and fecundity. Malthus did not succeed in connecting positive and preventive checks with his theory. Now, the second theory is the demographic transition. Demographic transition refers to transition from high birth and death rates as a country develops from a pre-industrial to an industrialized economic system. It suggests all countries go through 4 to 5 stages of development. It refers to transition from high birth and death rates to low birth and death rates as a country develops from an industrialized economic system. Stage 1, that is known as pre-industrial society, that refers in this stage death rates and birth rates are high and roughly in balance. Population growth is typically very slow as death and birth rates both are high, so the population growth is slow. Population is dependent on rapid fluctuations such as droughts and diseases. But every present day, country has gone past this stage. Now, second stage. If we talk about the India, the first stage, before 1920, high birth rate, because lack of knowledge of birth control, children were considered workers and as an investment. To counter very high death rate, poor health care and living conditions, and lack of hygiene. Stage 2, that is basically in developing countries. In stage 2, high birth rates and low death rate. So increase in growth rate. Fall in death rate while birth rate is still high. Decrease in infant mortality rate and increased lifespans. Large increase in population. If we talk about India, 1920 to 1985, it was the time period of population explosion as birth rate was high compared to death rate. Causes were being a British colony led to improvements in healthcare and sanitation. So death rates fall. Stage 3, post-industrial. In this stage, it seems fall in birth rates and starting to balance lower death rates, lower infant mortality rate. If we talk about India, since 1985, death rate leveling off, birth rate starting to decline. India currently in the latter half of stage 3. Stage 4, stabilization period. Both birth and death rates are low. Population growth stabilized. Population starts to shrink. Basically, this is seen in the countries Canada, Argentina, Australia, New Zealand, most of Europe's. Now, next is stage 5, additional stage. Death rate is higher than birth rate, resulting in decrease of population. There are few countries like Germany, Italy and Japan in which the death rate is higher than the birth rate, resulting in decrease of population. Due to this, additional stays have been proposed depending on the fertility rate in the country. Drawbacks of demographic transition theory. It has a questionable applicability to less economically developed countries. Drawback has been validated primarily in Europe, Japan, and North America, where demographic data exists over centuries, whereas high quality demographic data for most leading countries did not become widely available until the mid 20th century. So, the concept of optimum population is only mentioned in theories, but practically cannot be attained. Theoretically, there is for any given state or the arts and any given supply of available natural resources together with a given supply of capital, instrument, and a given social organization, a certain size of population which can operate these resources to be the most advantaged and produce the largest per capita income of consumers goods possible under the given conditions. Thank you. We'll continue our next topic in next video.